Hey bike farmers, we have ourselves quite the project today. So this is a Trek police bike and it has been sitting outside for years. This bike has been locked to the back porch right next door here. For 5 or 6 years I've ridden past this thing and been like, man, I really want that bike. And the other day, the guy came in with it. He doesn't have a good place to keep it. He knows that he neglected it, but it has a lot of sentimental value to him. He said he's willing to pay to fix it up, and I think it's worth it. These are really good bikes. They're durable. It's got an XT rear derailleur, double walled rims. It's got a great 3x8 drivetrain on it. I think we'll be able to replace the chain, the tires, the tubes, the grips, the saddle, you know, the basics, the stuff that really just doesn't like to be left outside. We'll replace all of that stuff, give it a good cleaning, give it some lube, little bit of adjustment here and there. I'm really excited to be making a video out of this one. This is really gonna be quite the transformation. And I think we're gonna have a great bike when we're done. Thanks for clicking in. Kick back, relax, and enjoy. And per the usual, we're gonna start off right away with taking this rear wheel off. Well, we'll take both wheels off. Set them aside. Look at this rusty chain. I mean, the links are just completely stuck, but it does have this master link. And there it sits, the old chain. I'd mentioned to the customer that I thought I had a Bontrager rear rack that I liked better than this one. But I'm not seeing any braze-ons up here to attach it. So it'd be all wonky. At a closer look on this, I think it's okay. It's a Toe Peak Godzilla rack. It's a decent quality rack. It's not too far gone. I am gonna try to make it less gray. And I think what I'll do, I'm just gonna take some Tri-Flow, I think, and just cover the whole thing with Tri-Flow. It's kind of ridiculous, but wipe it down with Tri-Flow. Just kind of try to rehydrate that metal rack and let that kind of soak in a little bit. You know, this bike is so far gone, I don't think, I mean, you could just soak it in lube and probably be doing it a big favor. It's been just exposed to all the elements. Wind, rain, sun, snow, freezing, thawing, everything. So we're gonna go through and do a lot of crazy wiping and cleaning and all that jazz. You know, it's surprisingly not rusted shut, you know? I think maybe it was kind of covered a little bit. I mean, clearly there's UV damage, but everything's moving pretty freely, really. It's got quite a bit of surface rust, but none of it has really penetrated through. You know, I'm just looking at these ferrules, and they're pretty grayed out. That means that they've been exposed to sun. I think a lot of what I'm going to do to this bike is going to be cosmetic. You know, this chainring just has surface rust on it, but if you spray it and wipe it, it kind of goes away, so. don't really think it's worth it to totally strip the bike down and soak everything, and you know, you can do a lot of cleaning with everything on the bike. A lot of people ask me why I don't just take it outside and hit it with a hose. That only does so much too. I've just found that if you just go straight to spraying it and wiping it, you know, you're going to be doing that anyway if you actually polish it. So I might as well just do it on the stand. If you notice, I'm using my dirty rag here. It's kind of like a greasy tack cloth. It's not going to hurt anything. We'll hit it with a cleaner rag later. But even just this little bit is really helping already. And you can only do so much. I mean, this bike is a pretty extreme case here. These pedals are kind of flopping around and driving me crazy. Just take them off. Yeah, there's a sticker on it that says it's made in Waterloo, hand built in the USA. So this is still a welded in Waterloo bike. So when you have the wheels off the bike, especially if you have the chain off, you can kind of grab the rear derailleur and pull it just like that, which gives you enough slack on the cable to get the housing out of its cable stops. The happy little homes on the bike frame. And then you can grab your little bottle of Tri-Flow and lube all your cables. These are nice, slick, stainless steel cables, so they're not all rusty. Everything's pretty smooth yet, surprisingly. Squirting a little bit of lube on this barrel adjuster on the threads. Kind of wake that back up. These pulley wheels aren't moving very freely, so I'll probably, once I get the new chain on, I'm probably gonna hit it with the aerosol anyway, but might as well get her soaking. Yeah, everything's moving. That's really good news. And the same thing with the front derailleur, you can, oh, this one's kind of sticky, so I'm gonna drop some lube in all the pivots on this front derailleur too. Just kind of give it a manual working. But if you pull it all the way out, it gives you enough slack on that cable to get the housing out of its happy homes. And this one is really dry and a little bit of corrosion in there. But that cleans it right out. Okay, and then the rear brake, dry as a bone in here. A little bit of corrosion here by the noodle. So we take a little bit of steel wool, just kind of clean the cable up. This is when I get the comments, why don't you just replace the cables? You know, why would I? That's good. It's clean, it's gonna work. We don't have to go replacing parts if we don't need to. You know? We're just reversing time a little bit with this one, you know? Start rebuilding the whole bike and, I don't know, it's not as cost effective and, you know, I don't need to overcharge people, right? Yeah, I have all this Tri-Flow on my hands. I'm just rubbing it into the paint. Make it shiny. Let it soak in. Pretty ridiculous, really. This cable's got some stuff going on. That's the front. Take the back piece of housing here. Ooh, that's actually really slick. Yeah, this bike is gonna pop right back to life. These are very satisfying jobs. Famous last words, right? I mean, anything can happen. We've seen it happen. It could surprise me yet. Yeah, this brake cable, you know, this bike just has not been moved in years. You can really tell. I'm gonna drop a little bit of lube down the front brake cable here, and hopefully gravity kind of pulls it down and sucks it into the system, but I have a feeling that once we go to set up that front brake, we'll be pulling this cable out and getting after it a little bit more. I'm not a big fan of this noodle here too. There's a spring in there, it's like an anti-lock. Or that's what the idea is to make it so you can't lock up that front brake, and I just think it gives everything a really mushy feel. I don't like it. Most people don't like it. It's kind of gimmicky. You know, the fear is that the V-brakes were too strong. The brakes were too good. And people are making claims that you get more stopping power out of disc brakes. I don't know. Yeah, well, I don't think we need to touch it. That's slicked up real nice. Again, I just got all kinds of Tri-Flow on my hands and can rub it in. All of these accessories are shot. And he said I can just remove them all. So that's what I'll do. I absolutely hate cyclocomputers, so it's pretty satisfying to just cut these off and throw them away. They just become a customer service nightmare. Nobody wants to learn how to set up their own cyclocomputer. It's like, what's the point of having it? And they want me to explain it, and I'm like, I don't know how to make you understand computers. You know, I'm a bike mechanic, I'm not a teacher. Read the manual. Do the work. Some pretty good chaos going on here with all the cables. Spray the crap out of that. Give it a good scrubbing. You know, it's a lot easier to clean the frame when you have all the cables disconnected. Man, I kind of just want to spray it and let it sit. All right, so that's the rear brake. There's the rear derailleur. Here's the front derailleur. All right, all the cables are back in their happy home. Got that one in there, all the way up. And I don't know if you guys can really see, but I'm not satisfied with the luster of things. So I'm gonna spray this frame and just let the furniture polish sit on it. See if we can bring the luster back to that paint. Okay. So I have everything covered in furniture polish now. We're gonna let that sit and move on to the wheels. Yeah, okay. So the tire situation's pretty bad here. So we're just gonna remove everything and replace it. Oh man. Even the rim tape is gross. And a little bit of surface rust on the cassette doesn't bother me. I think it'll work fine with a new chain. So I think what I'll do is pull it off because I want to put a new dork disc on anyway. You know me. Kind of spray it with some lube. Let that do its thing. So this one's still holding air, but I'm just gonna toss it. It helps to unseat the tire on both sides. It helps to get it off the rim. It also helps to get all the air out of it. Well, more air out of it than I have gotten. Man. Try these smaller levers. Maybe, oh, dropped a lever. Sometimes if you get the lever in there and pry, it helps. There we go. Oh, dropped a lever again. That was a good one. Like Plinko. Playing Plinko with the lever. Yeah, and like you can see that rim tape is just gross. I mean, it's probably fine, but it's gross. So I'm gonna replace it. There's a magnet on the wheel here for that computer. Pull that off. There's the front wheel. All right, I'm gonna just hit this with some Dawn Power Wash. Give it a good once over with a mild detergent. Clean the ick off of everything. It's really cleaning up well. Couple of spots that are worse than others. Right down here by the label. But it's coming off. It's really hard to do left-handed. You go through and floss between each spoke. And then I go through and wipe each spoke. Actually, I'm gonna wipe the inside of the hub here. Get that polished up in there. Then I'll go through and wipe each spoke. Everything's stainless, so nothing's too rusty or too far gone. Yeah, I mean, when we get done with it, it's gonna look like an old bike. You're gonna know that it sat for a while at some point, but you're gonna have to look for it. You're gonna have to find clues. It's not gonna be blatantly obvious anymore. And then, you know, mechanically speaking, all the surface rust will have lube on it, so mechanically speaking, it'll be just fine. We'll just do our best with the aesthetics. Okay, let's check this for true. Couple little spots, but that's to be expected. I mean, the important thing with this bike is that, you know, it's not gonna cause any rubbing with the brakes. But I still like to get it as good as possible within reason. This is the only real dirty spot remaining on the rim. And I think a little bit of steel wool can knock off the high spots. Same over here. But otherwise you can see how clean it is. I mean, for a bike that's been sitting out for God knows how many years, that looks really good. Wipe up those shavings. Yeah, that front hub sounds a little grungy. But we'll do the same thing with the front. Hey bike farmers, a quick note. If you're looking to get serious about fixing bikes at home, look no further than the Park Tool AK5 toolkit. I have an affiliate link in the description. This kit provides all the basic tools you'll need to tune up just about any of the bikes that you see on this channel. It also comes with the Big Blue Book of Bicycle Repair written by Calvin over at Park Tool. Also in the description are affiliate links for all the basic things that I use. The grease, the degreaser, the one step, the Dawn Power Wash, Behold. If you see anything else that I don't already have a link for, let me know in the comments so I can add it. I hope these affiliate links will help encourage you to take this on as a hobby or even start flipping bikes for a living like I do. I think I just finished up this wheel. All right, this front hub feels like it wants some grease. So there's a couple of steps here. Take the skewer out, and then this is a little dust cap that it's barely surviving. Okay, and then it's usually on a front hub, 13 millimeter. Yep, 13 millimeter. That's what these skinny little cone wrenches are for, is to get underneath there, and then that's usually 17 millimeter, this lock nut. So I like to find a way to get my wrenches like that, kind of see, and then squeeze them together, and that will loosen up this lock nut. And then this is a cone wrench. They call it a cone wrench because it's grabbing on the flats of the cone. It's a cup and cone system, the hub is. And then there's bearings on the inside. So this is the cone. We'll loosen it up. And then you can see how it's loose, right? Oh, there goes my lock nut. Okay, and once you have it accessible, open enough, you gotta be careful. I can see the bearings already wanna kinda pop out on me. Okay, I just kinda squirt a whole bunch in there. Do the same to the other side. And I'm kind of holding that cone with my finger on the other side. Okay. See, now it's all good and greasy. Grab your lock nut. Now you can take that all the way apart and clean it. Put new bearings in. That would be a hub overhaul. And you know, I mean, it might be worth it on this bike, but I suspect that this is good enough for who it's for, so. You know, hub overhauls were a common thing back in the day, especially for racers. Yeah, it really wanted some lube. And then you just, you know, I usually start with finger tight, and then just doing that little adjustment sets the preload most of the time. You know, you just want a tiny bit of play because that skewer, the cam on the skewer is gonna, you know, when you cam the skewer, that millimeter, it's just gonna squish it in just a tiny bit, and that sets the preload properly so the bearings don't wear out prematurely. I don't know how well I did describing that. I tend to believe that I'm not a good explainer of things. Mostly because the people I talk to just look at me like a deer stuck in headlights. So either I'm a bad explainer or everybody's just kind of dumb. Which is it, folks? But that's way more better, hey? No doubt about it. All right, kids. Let's clean up the inside of these rims a little bit. This is a nice clean dry rag. The Velox tape, rim tape, really isn't that sticky at all. So try to give it a fighting chance with a flat surface. This is what the tape looks like. Now the tape has a tiny hole for Presta. So I always fold it in half, and then I cut my own half moon. Everything I ever needed to learn, I learned in kindergarten. It's like we used to make snowflakes that way. Did everybody make snowflakes in kindergarten? Art class? Or, you know, like in elementary school? Or was that just us northerners? Us superior in every way northerners. Okay. And actually this tape is sticking pretty good. So. Just go around and that covers up all the holes. The nipple holes. Okay, and then I have my giant flat guard PPT 26 by 2 tires that have that tread on them. It's a nice intermediate tread, not totally slick, good all around general purpose tires. Okay, skewer goes on the left side of the bike and the tread is pointing forward, so we go there. I try to match my valve hole, which is right there, with the logo on the tires as a general rule of thumb, but all right, and per the usual, it's a tight fit, folks. We're gonna struggle here. Now these rims aren't the same rims, so this one's gonna be harder than the other one. Got the big mamma jamma here. Brand new tube, brand new tire, brand new tape. Okay, this will be fun. So, because I already know it's going to be a struggle, I'm doing my very best to make the bead tuck down on the inside of the rim. Yeah, so you just smush the bead all the way down into the valley of the rim. And you want to push your tube up in there as far as you can, because you don't want your tool catching the edge of the tube and cutting it. The ones like this that fit so tight can really be challenging and frustrating. Yeah, you can see, I think, how much further I have to go yet. All right, so I'm gonna take my tool, and the good thing is that these brand new tires are really grippy, so it wasn't so bad. Just need leverage and a little bit of preparation, a little foresight. I don't think I have to worry about this one blowing off the rim, so I'm just gonna cram a ton of air in it. I'm double checking anyway. like it. And we get to repeat the process for the rear wheel. Hey bike farmers, I just wanted to take this lull in the action to let you know how much I appreciate that you've clicked in to watch this video. Now that I've been at it a little bit, I'm starting to learn why everybody's always asking for more. The AdSense money is just barely enough to make it worth starting a channel. If I want to sustain this for the long term, I'm going to need everyone's help. Now don't get me wrong, your attention is enough. Don't feel obligated to give more, but I've tried to make it as easy as possible. You can always click the super thanks, that's the heart with the $ in the middle of it, or consider a monthly membership. The monthly membership will give you a little star next to your name, and if you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments. I'll see the star, and when I see it, I'll definitely give you an answer. You'll also have access to a little more behind the scenes action that non-members can't see. With all that said, thank you so much, and let's get back to some bikes. Okay, and as promised, new spoke protector here. It's a 36-hole Clydesdale rim here, so I get a 3-pronger. I like it, it's the nice big one here. And then here's that cassette that's kind of been soaking. It's nice and clean. There you have it. Shiny and new. Get these pedals on here. About to put the rear wheels. I'm about to put wheels back on the bike. The chain and everything. It's gonna help to have the pedals on. Just thinking of it. Left side pedals are reverse thread, so it's lefty tighty. But when you're putting pedals on, you can pedal backwards. That tightens them down, and taking them off, you pedal forward. I'm not gonna remove these water bottle screws and run them through the wire wheel, but you could. Start turning this thing back into a bicycle. Feels really good. Clean this fork up a little bit first. A little bit easier to do when the wheel's not on the bike. Getting in behind the brakes is always a good thing. This is way easier to do before you put the wheel on. The rest of the bike's been soaking. People really get worked up in the comments about me getting furniture polish on the brake pads. It's kind of ridiculous. I don't think it makes a bit of difference. You can wipe it right off, and there's so much friction that it just burns right off. Actually, it's something that I don't do or I've never done on video, but I've done it in the field. It would really drive you crazy is if you got howling brakes, sometimes you can just put tri-flow on them. Yeah, literally lubricate the brake pads. The bike still stops just fine. It just stops squeaking too. I mean, literally, you can't tell that you just lubed the brake pads. But I know it doesn't feel right, and some of us can't get past that. But I'm here to tell you, feelings aren't facts, people. Reality exists, whether you feel good about it or not. Okay, now we can put a wheel on the bike. Front wheel activate. Here we go. And that feels really good. Fresh grease in the hub. Pretty incredible transformation on this bike already. Man, those grips are gross. So unfortunately, we gotta remove these bar ends to get the grips off. It just further complicates things. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, this bike's been laid down a few times, I think. Hopefully these come off in one piece. Oh, yikes. These grips are so gross. Yeah, this is a problem. I guess they get scraped off. Gross. So disgusting. Ugh. Oh, there we go. Okay. Not so bad. Yeah, that's just, you know, total neglect. Gross. I think the tackiness is gonna work to our advantage. So I'm gonna leave it. I just have a hunch. But what we can do is use some hairspray. Okay. And we're gonna cut the ends, but there's a trick to that. Just do that. Yeah, you can see like the end of the bars. This is kind of why I don't like bar ends. It's all marred up. It's going to be hard to get them tight back where they were. But not impossible. Couple new plugs. There we go. Okay, let's check out this rear brake. It feels really good. Get that reconnected there. This is pretty long. It's only pulling from that one side. Take this linear spring, bend it back, add a little tension that way. And then this is the tension screw. The proper way to kind of fine tune it. I'm going to relieve a little tension from this side. Yeah, that screw on that other side is all the way in, so that's probably got something to do with it. And I'll let Get some out on this side. Oh, there we go. That's a good balance, I think. Certainly an improvement. That's a more appropriate length, I think. Add a cable tip. I have a fancy park tool for that job. Did not use it. Old habits die hard. It's just a little rusty in there. I don't like it. Little dab will do ya. Put tri-flow in your bolt heads and it kind of keeps the rust from getting too out of control. It kind of hides it too, darkens it, makes it less obvious, cleans things up a bit. All right. Just create a little bit of chaos. See if things are still even. I'm going to relieve a little pressure from this side and add it back. Pretty good. I just tried to pedal the bike and there is no chain. Let's put a chain on it. So this is an 8-speed bike, and I have 8-speed chains in bulk because 5-speed, 6-speed, 7-speed, and 8-speed are all the same chain. It's nice, you know, if you're ever going to ride around the world, end up in the middle of nowhere, it's best to have an 8-speed bike because you can just grab a chain off any old Huffy, any bike you find basically. Any multi-speed bike. You know, so I'm going small and small, and then I just want the derailleur pulling on it a little bit. That's how I size my chains. And then I'm gonna break the chain right there. This is my old CT3 chain tool. I love it. Can't get them anymore. Take another one if somebody's got one and they don't want it. There. Ooh, yeah. Got problems. Let's solve them. All right, so what I noticed here is the derailleur over shifted the chain. Yeah, you can see how it just did that? And then you can see also, let's get it back out of the way. So you can see how it's all worn off there. It ain't the first time, right? So this derailleur here is pulling the chain too far to the high gear, too far to the outside. So these are the limit screws that'll limit that. And you can't see it, and you can barely see it, but I can see it. But this has an H on it, and this one has an L. So the little gear is the high gear, and so you want to set the high limit. And right now it's allowing too much movement. So if you turn that in, it limits how far the derailleur will pull the chain to the high gear. Okay, so there, I just turned it in a smidge. And you want it to still shift easily, but not too far. Now it'll stop throwing that chain into the frame. Now it's not always the limit screws that cause overshifting. Sometimes it's a bent derailleur hanger, which is this part right here. And I'm not showing any signs of a bent hanger yet. So I like to see how it does shifting one at a time. It's struggling to go up, so I'm gonna add a little bit of tension, which I can turn this barrel adjuster out, which makes this piece of housing just a little bit longer, which creates a little more tension on that cable. And now it's shifting up great. Okay, so I'm gonna check the limit here. It doesn't seem to wanna overshift. Get a little bit of play. So I could turn that in just a bit, just to demonstrate. Oh, you see how it overshifted there. It seems to be shifting pretty well. So as promised, with the new chain, they kind of come with this shitty lube. Just gonna spray the crap out of it with some one step. Yeah, the one step. And then I take a dirty rag and wipe off all the excess. But that'll dry, and then leave a little film behind and keep things lubricated. But all in all, that is significantly way more better hay. Make that just a little bit smaller. Button it up. So our front shifter here, the derailleur was a little bit sluggish before. I had to spray the crap out of it. But you can see here, so right now I'm in the low gear and back, and it's just almost rubbing, but not quite. And this cable feels really loose. So, and it looks like we can adjust. So here we are in the granny gear, and the chain is rubbing on the inside of the derailleur. So I'm gonna back out the low limit screw, and that's just gonna relax the derailleur a little bit. Now that cable's tight. So that's pretty good. It shifts up into the, so now we're cross-chained big and big. Never gonna like that too much. And I'm gonna slowly shift down in the back into the high gear. And yeah, I mean, I don't think I can adjust that any better. It's a little sluggish shifting, but it does shift, so that'll be interesting on the test ride to see. It could be an angle thing. It looks like things are angled that way a bit. I'm gonna adjust the derailleur angle. These triples, I mean, I've been dealing with them for many, many years, and you know, it's not rocket surgery, but they sure can become problematic. You'll have seen it in some of my other videos. So I really hesitate to touch anything, and if I do, it's just real subtle. All right, I'm gonna do it a little more. I'm gonna bring it up a smidge too. Yeah, this is kind of next level. I don't know how to explain my thought process really, but you want just like a millimeter or two of clearance over that big chain ring, and then the cage you want, you know, parallel to the chain rings. But then when you crank it down, it adjusts the angle a little bit. So you have to find the happy medium. And when the derailleur's been on the bike for so long, it kind of creates a groove in the paint and it finds its happy home and doesn't want to be disturbed, you know. It's just comfortable at home on the couch watching Wheel of Fortune after dinner. Oh, but look at that. It is shifting way more better, hey. So now that was worth it. Okay, you see that? You don't need that much. I like it to overshift just a tiny bit, just to make it shift. Okay, and I feel like my cable's a little loose, which it feels loose, so I'm using the barrel adjuster up on the shifter to adjust that. But then in little in the back, or the big one in the back, so low gear in the back and middle, get a tiny bit of rubbing. I'm gonna allow a little bit there. Hey, that's a pretty good 3x8 drivetrain. I'm okay with all of that. Just really okay with it. Oh lordy. So this is like zip tied on. I mean, what a mess. This is all sorts of wrong. Yeah, and it's ugly, and that light's dead. I'm throwing it away. Papa don't preach, I'm not keeping that baby. What an ugly saddle, huh? Look at that. Completely blown out. I like to put a little bit of tri-flow in here to keep things from creaking and squeaking. Okay, kind of put it in the middle. Bike is angled down a bit. Here, well, I think that's a decent angle. It's probably best to do the saddle with the bike on the ground, but I'm a risk taker. I mean, it's a really good looking bike all of a sudden. Look at that thing. Something I shockingly didn't have to do, but I'm going to do, is just a bit of one step in these shifter pods. Just get the needle nozzle right in there. Yeah, it really increases the haptic response. The clickety really comes to life then. Not much we can do about those cloudy indicators. Pretty good. too little too late for this. Not much we're gonna do to save anything, but you know me, I like to drop tri-flow in all the bolt heads. Yeah, this bike turned out great. No surprises, a lot of work, you know, but sometimes they're too far gone, but I saw through it with this one. I saw potential. And I'm glad we decided to fund the project. It's always good to get paid for your work. But most of all, I think those of you that have been watching this channel long enough know that for me, for some dumb reason, it really is mostly about the bikes. And I just love bringing them back to life. So yeah, the story was, I think it was the kid's uncle, dad, brother, I don't know. Somebody was a cop, an uncle, cousin, who knows? So the bike was gifted to him. Somehow they ended up with it in a police auction. They were getting rid of it, and then it was gifted to him. And he always wanted to ride it, and then didn't, and felt bad about it, and decided to finally take care of it. And so we did. So that's it for the Trek. I don't know what the number is. I don't know what the model is. You know, if anybody knows, but you know, it's got an XT rear derailleur and a, you know, Judy TT fork. Decent, real good quality, nice all-around bike. Should we take it for a ride? Yeah, let's do it. Let's go take this for a ride. It rained, so it's a little rainy out there, but a little wet, but we can take her for a bike ride quick. The brakes aren't squeaking. Oh yeah. Oh, now the brakes are squeaking. Just a little howly. We'll hit that with some emery cloth. I gotta adjust that front brake anyway. But it's kind of damp out here. These humid days. Brakes like to howl on humid days. How about that? Good looking bike, huh? So I'll just hit this rim with some emery cloth, rough it up a little bit. And then you can kind of just change the surface on the pads too, which doesn't really do a whole lot, but doesn't hurt. We never did adjust the front brake because it doesn't really need it. The cable's a little loose, but that's about it. And even with this like stupid anti-lock spring thing, I feel really good, so don't need to address that issue. Well, now it doesn't match the back. Gonna tighten the back one too, just a little. That was too much. That's about right. I also didn't like how this seat felt. I thought this bike was more upright feeling, and it's not. It's kind of an older school mountain bike. You're kind of leaning over the front end on it. So this wide saddle doesn't do it for me. Well, it's a skinnier, lower profile saddle. Still has a good padding on it. I think it's, in the long run, going to be a better option for this bike. Okay, I think that's it for this one. Thank you so much for clicking in. If you like this content and want to see more, you got to support the channel. If you watched this far, you've already done enough. But if you want to do a little bit more, you can give me a super thanks. That's the heart with the $sign in it. That's money straight to me. Really helps a bunch. I usually take it and go straight across the street and get some tacos. Consider being a monthly sustainer with a membership. $5-10 a month, whatever you can afford, really adds up. So, if I build that membership, that really helps. And let's see here, what else can you do? You can like this video, you can subscribe, you can tell your friends, you can share it. And for yourself, you can click that notification bell so you and your bike can stay tuned.